Sí, era Hare Krishna, everybody. Dhamma Pranam. Looks like the new time is not really suiting
Hare
to
Krishna.
everybody. Hare Krishna. Let's see if they come. Because I thought 5 o'clock we start earlier and we finish earlier. Because 6 was kind of late, but now even the Sri Mataji not here and Chatura Mataji and Shailesh Prabhu who won it 5 o'clock. Let's see. Anyway, we can start if they join later. That's okay. I can just quickly share my screen and we can summarize what we did last class. Mm. So we're in the 7th canto, 8th chapter, where Lord Nrsimhadev kills Hiranyakashipu. So last class we did something from shloka 30 to 40, basically these 10 shlokas or something like that, or 29 maybe. I forgot exactly. So what happened there? The Nrsimhadev, he killed Hiranyakashipu, and then he sits on Hiranyakashipu throne, and then demigods, they glorify him, they approach him to offer prayers and worship. And now in this section of verses from 40 to 56, we'll hear how they offer prayers, just a little more in detail what we did last class. So yeah, Hiranyakashipu, that was explained, described in the 29th shloka, how the Lord, placed him on his lap, and how he tore his abdomen, and took out his intestines and decorated himself as with a garland. And then Lord's condition after killing Hiranyakashipu was described, how he looked very ferocious. His mane was smeared with the blood, and his eyes were very fiery, and he was licking his mouth with his tongue. And then after that, Lord also killed the other demons who were Hiranyakashipu's soldiers and friends who came to attack. Easily Lord killed them with his nails. And then there is again big description of the strength of Lord Nrsimhadev, describing his hair, his glaring eyes, his breathing, roaring, his lotus feet, his effulgence, and how he sat on Hiranyakashipu's throne, and nobody could come forward because he was so angry. So everybody was afraid. And the condition around, it was also described how the sky was filled with the vimanas of the demigods, charanas, gandharvas, how the musical instruments could be heard, how the demigods showered flowers. And at that point, Lord Brahma, as the most senior of all the demigods, he dared to come closer and start offering prayers. So this is the point where we stopped, and we'll continue there. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatam Jayamudira Nashta Preshra Bhadrasya Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhakti Bhavati Pushtaki Om Agyanati Mirandasya Giranjana Shalaka Chakshu Umritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Lord Brahma is speaking. I'll start
Krishna
reading.
Prabhu, can I just interrupt before you start?
Yes, please.
There's a quick question on last. I won't be able to interact today much, either. Prabhu, I've got
Sure.
some family emergency. I'll be listening, but I just wanted to ask you a question from last week's class, which I wasn't present, but I've listened to the class.
Yes,
So
sure,
there was
Prabhu.
a long discussion that you had with the devotees regarding sort of Kali Yuga and progressing of Kali Yuga and how it's progressing. One point that I wanted to ask you for clarification on is that we have been given, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that during the next, there will be 10,000 years of the golden era, starting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. So is it going to get worse before it gets better, or is it supposed to get better after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because obviously it's continuing to decline. We see everything continuing to decline, and today, of course, Mr. Donald Trump has been elected as president, so it's going to continue to decline even faster. But we obviously, according to predictions, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's and Srila Prabhupada has repeated it, that with the advent of devotees, there will be a 10,000 year hiatus of the golden era where things will progress devotionally before it gets bad again. So how do we read everything we're reading at the moment with what you said with some astrologers forecasting in 3 or 4 years' time all calamity breaking out? So that's not in line with the prediction with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Srila Prabhupada's prediction.
Since even before the Maharaj Yudhishthir's rule, there had to be, war in Kurukshetra for the things to get better. Because now that the demoniac civilization is so much established, that to break it, I think, I mean, I don't know exactly. I'm not, astrologer or that I can see the future. But I think that first it needs to get worse in order to get better eventually. So first, the foundation of the materialistic civilization needs to be destroyed, undermined, in order for people to wake up and start, going into the right direction. This is my understanding. And devotees, they're 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 there already. Millions of books are distributed, so there is a good spiritual foundation for the future. But just the materialism is so strong at the moment that we people do not, take us so seriously, and the world is still going into the materialistic direction. So something needs to stop that wrong direction. And maybe all these events that will happen, whether they will happen or not happen, I'm not sure. But we can see that it's all sliding down more and more. So maybe something big on the global level needs to happen for the things to start getting better. Once I won't say everything is destroyed, but once the basis of the materialistic civilization is at least questioned, if not destroyed or undermined in some way. So this is my understanding. I have no prophetic abilities to see the future exactly, but we have faith in what Prabhupada says and what Shastra says, that 10,000 years they have to come, but we are just now 500 years since Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So obviously it is a gradual process. It's not going to happen overnight. So sometimes when you go up the hill, you need to go first down and then again up and down and up. So this might be one of these down phases that will eventually lead us up. So this is how much I can say, but I have no really any proof that we are going down in order to get up, but the Prabhupada's books are there, devotees are there, which was not there just 50 years ago. I mean, it was in India only and very limited. Now it's all over the world. And it's only 50 years since it spread all over the world. So it would be unrealistic to expect now that immediately, in a few years, we have golden age flourishing and all the states accepting Krishna consciousness, and we have Raja Rishis. No, it might take a couple of hundred of years for these things to happen. But in the span of 10,000 years, this is not so much. So when exactly this bud of the Satya Yoga in a Kali Yoga, this 10,000 years, when is it going to open? Uh, we don't know exactly, but definitely we have faith that what Prabhupada says and what Shastra says, that the devotees will be everywhere, and for some time Kali Yoga will be checked uh, by strong preaching of the devotees, and it's getting checked, but still not enough. So something needs to break to break the barrier, to break the basis of the civilization, which is based on a completely wrong values. And Prabhupada was the one who was saying, after 50 years, this civilization will be finished, and we already, you know, crossed that 50 years. I think it was in 2023, 50 years since Prabhupada said that in 73. So I hope it will not be complete destruction that everybody is dead, because it will not make sense. But something big has to happen in order for the world to start getting in the right direction. Because obviously we as devotees, we are insignificant still number of people if you compare to 8 billion people. Even if there are a few millions of devotees, this is still 0.00 whatever percentage is. So something needs to stop the global decline in order that we get opportunity to preach more and to give Krishna consciousness to people. Anyway, Prabhu, this is just my thoughts. I have no Shastric Pramana for this. Is it okay, or what others think?
No, that's fine. Perfect, perfect, Prabhu. I just want to know how we can handle those questions when we're asked them, because clearly it appears contradictory. Of course, it isn't. We understand everything that pure devotee says will always come correct and will be true, and that too, especially if the Lord Himself has said it, and then there's absolutely crystal clear clarity in it. But it's just. I think last week there was a discussion that it's going to continue getting worse, worse, and worse. So I was just trying to work out how you explain that compared to the fact that actually it's supposed to be getting better.
Yeah,
But
this is
yeah,
one. That's one
so
the way
thank you
that
for that.
first will get worse. Even after
Thank
Lord
you.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thank you. After Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared, you know, there was no great expansion of Krishna consciousness for a long time. Even in the 17th and 18th century, even Gaudiya Vaishnavism sank completely. The all sort of Prakriti Sahajya sects, they flourished, and it looked like that the Lord Chaitanya's movement was lost. Only Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the one who revived it after Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur and others who were great acharyas previous to him. But between Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there was nobody, and it was at least 100 years in between, and everything seemed to be lost. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he could not find one Chaitanya Charitamrita. He had really to search very hard to find one copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So everything appears to be lost only 400 years after Lord Chaitanya. So now we're in much better position. Although the world is, crazy as it is, still we have, millions and millions of books, and not only hard copy books, but we have all these, e-books and devices. And so I think we are still making great progress, and eventually, Krishna consciousness will win. We have to be optimistic. Okay, so let us continue reading. Shri Brahmo Vacha. Natosminantaya duranta shaktaye vichitra viraya pavitra karmane vishvasya sargasthiti samyamhan gunai svalilaya sandhadate yayatmane. Translation. The Lord Brahma prayed, My Lord, you are unlimited and you possess unending potencies. No one can estimate or calculate your prowess and wonderful influence. For your actions are never polluted by the material energy. Through the material qualities, you very easily create the universe, maintain it, and again annihilate it, yet you remain the same without deterioration. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The activities of the Lord are always wonderful. His personal servants Jai and Vijay were confidential friends, yet they were cursed and they accepted bodies of demons. Again, in the family of one such demon, Prahlad Maharaj was caused to take birth to exhibit the behavior of an exalted devotee, and then the Lord accepted the body of Nrsimhadev to kill that same demon, who by the Lord's own will had taken birth in a demoniac family. Therefore, who can understand the Lord's transcendental activities? Not to speak of understanding the transcendental activities of the Lord, no one can understand even the activities of his servants. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila it is said, Tanra Vakya Kriya Mudra Vigyeha na Bujhai. No one can understand the activities of the Lord's servants. Therefore, what to speak of the activities of the Lord? Who can understand how Krishna is benefiting the entire world? The Lord is addressed as Duranta Shakti because no one can understand his potencies and how he acts. Vishnu Thakur, you made the Kumaras get angry and made your two gatekeepers fall. You made me, Brahma, give blessings to the demon, and you made your devotee appear in the family of demons. Inspiring the demon, you cause harm to the devotee. Then you personally manifest yourself to protect your devotee. No one can understand your plan. Therefore, I offer respects to you. I cannot know your limits, Anantaya. To please you, I offer respects to your energies, but the limits of those powers cannot be understood. You have remarkable prowess, since you killed the unconquerable demon in a moment. You should accept, and therefore, even if you are angry, your actions are pure. I offer respects to you who perform sandhadate, creation, maintenance, and destruction. So yeah, Vishnu Chandra Thakur is paraphrasing the Lord Brahma's prayers, giving interpretation of it. The main point here is that Lord's plan and Lord's activities are very difficult to understand, especially those who are conditioned uh, like souls in this material world. And not even Lord's plan and activities, but also the mind of Lord's pure devotees is very difficult to understand because they function on a completely different platform, on a transcendental platform. And one who is on the material platform has no ability to understand thinking and thinking, willing, and acting of those who are on a transcendental platform. Uh, Somebody asked me recently, there was some accident in South India, the car accident where four devotees died in that car accident. Somehow they were returning from some preaching program and the tire exploded. As the result of that, the vehicle lost control and they went on the opposite side of the road, and the lorry was coming, and they smashed directly into the lorry, and 4 of them were dead at the spot. So then the devotee was asking me, well, why Krishna did not protect them? Why is this happening? How is this possible? But what can answer to such a question? The fact is, the Lord is protecting the devotees, but we cannot understand how He is protecting and why He is allowing, if sometimes these things happen, why He is allowing this to happen. So He must have some plan in the mind with these devotees. He might be taking them back to Him or giving them a better chance to serve Him in another body. So we don't know what is actually happening because our vision is so narrow and limited to this one lifetime. But the Lord, He sees, past, present, and the future. He sees thousands of lifetimes that we had before. He sees our struggles in this life, and He sees, our future. So He knows what is the best. So even if He decides it's a time for us to change the body, that means it's the best thing for us to do. And we should not, have doubts that He's not protecting. He might or might not protect the body, but definitely He's protecting the soul. He's protecting our real self, and He's protecting our spiritual life. So for that, we should have no doubt. Okay, so let me see who is here. Okay, Subhadra Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Sri Rudra Uvacha Kapokalayugantaste Hato Ayam Asuro Alpakah Tatsutam Pahi Upasritam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Translation. Lord Shiva said, the end of the millennium is the same for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the creator of the material world. There are 3 processes in creation, namely creation, maintenance, and finally annihilation. During the period of annihilation, at the end of each millennium, the Lord becomes angry, and the part of anger is played by Lord Shiva, who is therefore called Rudra. When the Lord appeared in great anger to kill Hiranyakashipu, everyone was extremely afraid of the Lord's attitude. But Lord Shiva, knowing very well what the Lord's anger is also, that the Lord anger is also his Leela, was not afraid. Lord Shiva knew that he would have to play the part of anger for the Lord. Kala means Lord Shiva, Bhairava, and Kop refers to the Lord's anger. These words combined together as Kop Kal refer to the end of each millennium. Actually, the Lord is always affectionate towards his devotees, even though he may appear very angry, because he is Avya Yatma, because he never falls down. Even when angry, the Lord is affectionate towards his devotees. Therefore, Lord Shiva reminded the Lord to act like an affectionate father towards Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing by the Lord's side as an exalted, fully surrendered devotee. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Everyone is afraid of final destruction on seeing your furious form, but I am not. The time of dissolution is the time for your anger. I as well, your expansion, perform this action. I have shown anger out of affection for my devotee. This demon is insignificant for you, and his son, loyal to you, is here.
Okay, so here we have the Lord's anger mentioned. The anger as krodha, it's in this world is a expression of material gunas, especially of rajaguna. And those who are under the influence of three gunas, they fall victim to this anger. I'm sure all of us got angry sometimes in the past, and we could notice how that anger had effect even on our body. That the voice starts shaking, the trembling, and the body starts shaking, and it disturbs the mind. It pollutes actually the mind. But here, in the case of anger of the Lord, it's something completely different. Although outside it looks like our anger, like anger of conditioned soul, the Lord's anger is completely different in quality. The Lord's anger is not coming as the manifestation of Rajoguna or any other guna of material nature. It's expression of his love for his devotees, because he got angry because his devotee was harassed and tortured, and that anger is completely pure. And in comparison to material anger that is polluting, the spiritual anger, the anger of the Lord, is purifying. It's transcendental. So similarly, if a pure devotee gets angry, we should understand that that anger is not coming from the moods of material nature. It's not conditioned anger. It's not like our anger. And devotee can get angry for, different reasons, but they're always connected to Krishna and Krishna's service. For example, if devotee sees that another devotee is offended or attacked, he might get angry, and that's his expression of love for Krishna and his devotees. But that anger is not coming from material mind, it's coming from the soul. It's transcendental anger. Just yesterday, I heard or read how Prabhupada once got angry because he was inspecting some house in Bombay, in Juhu, and then when he entered one room, there were some sets of Bhagavatam that were on the floor, completely eaten by worms, damaged books, and he got very much angry at that the Bhagavatam was, the devotees were neglectful towards the Bhagavatam. And then everybody was very much afraid from this Prabhupada anger. But then just a little later, they saw Prabhupada speaking to some guests, and he was smiling and he was completely relaxed. So his anger was very quickly dissipated. That means it was not a material anger. Once, the person gets really angry, conditioned person gets angry, that anger, lasts for some time. But Prabhupada's anger was momentary, and it was not material anger, and it was connected to Krishna and Krishna's service. So it doesn't pollute the mind. That anger actually brings one closer to Krishna. If we can get angry at demons, those who are against Krishna and his devotees, who are trying to stop the preaching of Krishna consciousness, who are harming his devotees, that anger will purify us. that anger will bring us closer to Krishna. But if I get angry because somebody said something to me that I don't like, that he hurt my false ego, that anger is not going to purify me. That anger is just polluting my mind, because it's about me, and I'm angry because the Rajaguna and false ego are controlling me. So we don't want that anger. We want transcendental anger, and that anger comes only if one is really connected to Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. If one is above the modes of material nature, then he can experience transcendental anger. In the Krishna Lila, do we have any examples? Can anybody remember some example? Or Lord Chaitanya, or in Chaitanya Lila? For example, Lord Nityananda getting angry, or Lord Chaitanya getting angry. When Lord Nityananda broke his danda, apparently, externally, Lord Chaitanya, he got very angry. Why you broke my danda? And on other occasions, Lord Nityananda, he got angry when who was it? Shivananda Sen didn't provide place for sleeping. They were in some village going on the way to Puri, and Shivananda Sena was late to provide rooms and prasadam for all the devotees and Lord Nityananda. So when he came back, because he was paying the road tax, Lord Nitai, he kicked him with his foot, and some of the relatives, like one nephew uh, of Shivananda Sena, they got deadly offended, but Shivananda Sena, he took as a blessing, he took the foot of Lord Nityananda and put it on his head. He said, "Now my life became successful because you accepted me as your own, and you can you'll kick you only your own servants. You will not kick the others." Uh, so the Lord Nityananda's anger is purifying, transcendental, and immediately, Lord Nityananda, he embraced him. Although previously, before that, he kind of cursed his three sons to die, and Malini, the wife of, no, it was not Malini, it was the wife of the Shivananda Sena. She got also upset, but they didn't die. Shivananda Sena's sons, carried by Kavi Karnapur, they didn't die. It was just momentary reaction of the Lord, which was not under the modes of material nature. Okay, so we can continue. I guess Sharad Prabhu said he cannot read, so Gunarj Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Shindra Vacha Pratyanita Parama Bhavata Trayatana Swabhaga Daityakrantam Hridaya Kamalam Tadgram Pratyabodhi Kalagrastam Kirtidam Ahonata Shushrushatam Te Muktistesham Nahi Bahumata Narasimha Paraikim. Translation. King Indra said, O Supreme Lord, you are our deliverer and protector. Our shares of sacrifices, which are actually yours, have been recovered from the demon by you. Because the demonic king Hiranyakashipu was most fearsome, our hearts, which are your permanent abode, were all overtaken by him. Now, by your presence, the gloom and darkness in our hearts have been dissipated. O Lord, for those who always engage in your service, which is more exalted than liberation, all material opulence is insignificant. They do not even care for liberation, not to speak of the benefits of Kama, Artha, and Dharma. Purport. In this material world, there are two kinds of people, the Devatas, demigods, and the Asuras, demons. Although the demigods are attached to material enjoyment, they are devotees of the Lord who act according to the rules and regulations of the Vedic injunctions. During the reign of Hiranyakasipu, everyone was disturbed in the routine duties of Vedic civilization. When Hiranyakashipu was killed, all the demigods who had always been disturbed by Hiranyakashipu felt relief in their general way of life. Because the government in Kali Yuga is full of demons, the living conditions of devotees are always disturbed. Devotees cannot perform yajna, and thus they cannot partake of the remnants of food offered in yajna for the worship of Lord Vishnu. The hearts of the demigods are always filled with fear of the demons, and therefore they cannot think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The engagement of the demigods is to think of the Lord always within the course of their hearts. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham matgadenantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mataha. And of all yogis, you always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The demigods fully absorb themselves in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead to become perfect yogis. But because of the presence of demons, their hearts are filled with the activities of the demons. Thus, their hearts, which are meant to be the abode of the Supreme Lord, are practically occupied by the demons. All the demigods felt relieved when Hiranyakashipu was dead, for they would easily think of the Lord. They could then receive the results of sacrifices and become happy even though in the material world. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments, until this time I have not been attracted to remembering your lotus feet, since I was disturbed by the demon. O Supreme Lord, you who protect us have taken back your share of sacrifice from the demon. Since everything that belonging to us, the servants, actually belongs to you, the Master. Our hearts are your house because there we constantly meditate upon you. Just as the lotus loses its beauty in the night and closes up, attacked by the darkness, from the birth of the demon till today, thinking of the demon in fear, we have been attacked by the demon. Now that you have appeared like the sun, we have woken up. Touched by your feet, the lotus of our hearts has blossomed. Or we have understood about Rati, your home, Vaikunta. We have gained intelligence to serve your feet. Since you are a devotee, accept the post of Indra. True, since I have desire and no devotion, I will have to accept that. But the devotees without desire do not care for this post or even liberation. What to speak of things like the powers of yoga?
So this was prayer by King Indra, who, as we know, is king of heaven, enjoying great material opulence. And sometimes, actually in many places in Bhagavatam, we see Indra behaving in a not very spiritual way, as being selfish and trying to secure his position. And at one point, he even tries to kill the residents of Vrindavan when they stop doing sacrifice for him. But somehow after every mishap and mistake, Krishna kindly allows him to come back on the right track. So he's a devotee, but he has some material desires, and he knows that. And in one sense, he's remorseful, but still he doesn't want to give up his material desires. He doesn't want to give up his position. And who would want, just imagine now somebody gave you a lot of money and a nice nice facilities, nice house and airplane and this and that. Would you give it up, everything? No, he would say, oh well, I'll use it to serve Krishna. So similarly, King Indra thinks, I will stay the king of heaven and it will be favorable for my devotional service, but how much it is favorable, it's very questionable. And the opulence that is above certain limit, that is not really necessary, that goes into the area of unnecessary luxury, can easily become an obstacle, because one can become easily distracted by it and forget devotional service. That's why all the demigods in heavenly planets, they're distracted, and it's difficult for them to perform a Kantiki Bhakti, one pointed devotional service, because there is so much temptation for their senses. Beautiful apsaras and Nandakana gardens and intoxicating somaras and so many other things that take away the mind from the Lord. And they're attached to it and they cannot give it up, and but still they're devotees and they want also to serve Krishna, but at the same time they want to enjoy this material world. So they are torn between two sides. So unless Krishna deprives one from his opulence, he cannot overcome it himself. Hardly anybody will give up on his own. But sometimes it happens. We see the example of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was born in a very wealthy family, and they married him for a girl that was as beautiful as Shachi, the wife of Indra. Still, he was completely disinterested, and he didn't even want to sleep in the house with that newly wedded young wife, but he would go and sleep on the porch outside of the house. He had absolutely zero interest in family life and sense enjoyment that comes with it. And his mother and father, they were very much perturbed and disturbed. So they tried, to tie him, but eventually it just didn't work. When his mother suggested to his father, after Raghunath Das tried to escape, who knows how many times he tried to escape and go to Puri, and they caught him, they brought him back. Mother said, let him tie him with the ropes that he cannot escape again. But then father said, oh, foolish woman, you think the ordinary ropes will keep him? If this immense wealth that we had and that this beautiful wife couldn't tie him, how can the ordinary ropes tie him? So the Raghunath Goswami, he is the example of renunciation using Krishna service, the topmost example of renunciation. And by Lord Nityananda's mercy, he eventually managed to escape and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. And then he was the exemplary renunciate or sannyasi who lived first by begging, but later he gave up even begging, and he was eating the rotten Jagannath Mahaprasad rice. And Lord Chaitanya, when he saw such a level of renunciation, he was very, very satisfied. Because Vairagya, Vidya, Nija, Bhakti Yoga. So Vairagya and Vidya and Bhakti Yoga, they go hand to hand together. The knowledge, Vidya, and Vairagya, and the renunciation, and Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. They all three a perfect combination when properly used in Krishna service. Dry Vairagya, it's condemned, but Vairagya that is meant to be utilized in Krishna service, that is meant to bring us closer to Krishna, that is meant to expand our service to Krishna, is very welcome. So, but it's difficult to give up all the material attachments and to come to that level of vairagya. So one cannot pretend to be more renounced than he is. Okay, yeah. All right, let me continue reading, just one moment. So Sharishaya Uchu Tamnastapa Paramam Attayat Atmatejo Yeni Edamadi Purushatma Gatam Sasarkta Tad Vipra Luptam Amunhadya Sharanyapala Raksha Grihita Vapusha Punar Anva Mamstaha. Translation. All the saintly persons present offer their prayers in this way. So these are rishis offering prayers together, or maybe one is offering prayers on behalf of all others. I don't know if they can all in one voice offer prayers at the same time. So they said, O Lord, O Supreme Maintainer of those sheltered at your lotus feet, O Original Personality of Godhead, the process of austerity and penance in which you instructed us before is the spiritual power of your very self. It is by austerity that you create the material world, which lies dormant within you. This austerity was almost stopped by the activities of this demon, but now, by yourself appearing in the form of Nrsimhadev, which is meant just to give us protection, and by killing this demon, you have again approved the process of austerity. So the austerity, the process they were practicing was threatened by Hiranyakashipu, and the Lord enabled them again to engage in their sadhana. Let me see what is Sanskrit there. Austerity. Sharanyapala. Okay, anyway, purport. The living entities wandering within the jurisdiction 8,400,000 species of life get the opportunity for self-realization in the human form, and gradually in such other elevated forms as those of the demigods, Kinnaras and Charanas, as will be described below. In the higher statuses of life, beginning from human life, the main duty is tapasya or austerity. As Rishabhadev advised his sons, Tapodivyam putrakayena sattvam shudhyat. To rectify our material existence, austerity or tapasya is absolutely necessary. However, when people in general come under the control of a demon or a demoniac ruling power, they forget this process of tapasya and gradually also become demoniac. All the saintly persons who were generally engaged in austerity felt relieved when Hiranyakashipu was killed by the Lord in the form of Nrsimhadev. They realized that the original instruction concerning human life that is meant for tapasya, for self-realization, was reaffirmed by the Lord when he killed Hiranyakashipu. And Vishwanath, until today we have not been performing austerities. You have taught us about the supreme austerity, which is meditation on your powerful form. By that power of austerity, you created Sasarkta or Sasarja, the universe merged in you. It is said, Srijami Tapa Saivedam. I create this universe by austerity. That austerity power was covered with praluptam by the demon, just as Rahu covers the sun. Now I have approved of austerity as the process we should follow, by taking the form of Nrsimha to protect that austerity. So here, austerity is mentioned as something very much necessary for making progress in life. This is one definition of austerity, I think from Patanjali Yoga Sutras or somewhere, I don't remember exactly, which says that austerity is the activity through which we focus mind on one thing. So to focus mind on one particular object is called austerity in general. Generally, the mind is distracted with so many thousands of material objects during the day. And to withdraw him from all these material objects that are always distracting us and to focus it on just one object, it's very difficult, but it's called austerity. So in the case of devotees, that one object that we want to focus our mind it's Krishna, it's the Lord in his different forms and manifestations as his holy name, and then his personal forms and his qualities and pastimes. This is the austerity of devotional service that is necessary to perform to make progress. But in any form of a spiritual process, austerity is necessary. Whether it's yoga or even in karma kanda, one has to focus his mind on performing the rituals, the sacrifices properly. He needs to chant certain mantras, and that requires focus. And even the gross karmis who just want to enjoy, in order to achieve anything in this life, they need to focus their mind. To go to the school and university and study, you need to focus your mind on particular subject. And then in order to perform business, they need to be focused, or whatever profession one is doing. Depending on his ability to focus his mind, his success will depend on his ability to focus the mind. So it's naturally that our ability to execute devotional service successfully will depend on our skill of focusing the mind on Krishna, on concentrating our mind on Krishna. So this is the training process that we learn, we practice how to focus mind on Krishna. And then the test of that learning process of this study will come in the time of death. If we can remember Krishna at that time, then we go back to Krishna. If not, we have to take birth again and do more practice until we become perfect, until we can remember Krishna 24/7, and only then we can pass the test of that successfully. Okay, what is the time? Almost 6 o'clock. Who is Subhadra Mali, do you want to again read?
Yes, Prabhu. Sri Pitra Uchu Shradhanitno Adi Bhubhoje Prasadvam Tanujye Datani Tirtha Samaye Api Bhatilambu Tasyodaranakha Vidhir Navpadaya Archat Tasmai Namo Nriharaye Akhila Dharma Goptre. Translation. The inhabitants of Pitrulok pray, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsimhadev, the maintainer of the religious principles of the universe. He has killed Hiranyakashipu, the demon who by force enjoyed all the offerings of the Shraddh ceremonies performed by our sons and grandsons on the anniversaries of our death, and who drank the water with sesame seeds offered in holy places of pilgrimage. By killing this demon, O Lord, you have taken back all the stolen properties from his abdomen by piercing it with your nails. We therefore wish to offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. It is the duty of all householders to offer food grains to all their departed forefathers. But during the time of Hiranyakashipu, this process was stopped. No one would offer shad, oblations of food grains to the forefathers with great respect. Thus, when there is a demoniac rule, everything concerning the Vedic principles is turned upside down. All religious ceremonies of yajna are stopped. The resources meant to be spent for yajna are taken away by the demoniac government. Everything becomes chaotic, and consequently, the entire world becomes hell itself. When the demons are killed by the presence of Narsimhadev, everyone feels comfortable, irrespective of the planet upon which he lives. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Until today, we have been fasting. Shraddhani means the offerings of rice balls to the departed. He drank the offering of water and sesame, which people offered while bathing in sacred water. You have taken this offering from his stomach, whose fat was torn apart by your nails. Medini says Wapa means a whole or fact. You show us the rice balls and water when you torn him open. Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I ask one question?
Yes, sure.
This Shraddh ceremony, Prabhupada told us devotees don't need to do this, isn't it? Or am I?
Correct. Yeah, correct. So this is Shraddha ceremony is done in a Varnashrama system with general mass of people who are not strictly devotees, but they follow Varnashrama. So whenever somebody dies, uh, after his death, the son is supposed to offer these oblations of food, and in this way keep forefathers out of hellish conditions. So if one is performing devotional service directly, so it's engaged in Krishna Bhakti, there is no need for this, because just by pleasing Krishna, all the demigods, including Pitris, forefathers, they will be satisfied, they will be benefited. So we don't need independently to perform some ceremonies and Shraddha ceremonies for them. Still, in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, some of his disciples, although he told them that there is no need to perform Karma Kandya Shraddha, some of them they were so attached to it that they had to do it, and he was disappointed because they didn't show good example that there was no need for devotees. But if one really wants to do something, he can offer sometimes. There was this just recently some Pitri Paksha. If one really feels that forefathers are starving wherever they are, he can just prepare one plate of prasadam and offer simply without performing elaborate ritual or shada or go to Gaya. One my friend, some astrologer told him, "Oh, your parents they left the body a long time ago, and you need to perform shraddha, and you can do that only in Gaya." So he went to Gaya and he paid some huge money actually. Although when you go to Gaya, there are pandas there, they will do for 500 rupees, but he paid, 5,000 rupees or whatever he paid for the Shraddha from pandas who are not really a devotees, who are just some Karma Kanda Brahmanas. That shows that our faith is not very strong, our faith in Bhakti. that bhakti, devotional service, is much, much more powerful than all these karma khandya rituals like Shraddha. And then we should just stick, to devotional service. Prabhupada never recommended to anybody to do Shraddha. So why should we be doing it? We should have faith that our ancestors, fathers and mothers, they will all be taken care by Krishna just by our execution of pure devotional service. So our only concern should be to become good devotees, and then everything will be taken care of. No need for yagyas and other things. But here is description of general society where people who are in different varnas and ashramas, they are doing uh, their respective varnashrama duties, and part of it is the Shraddha ceremony. But if we are directly performing devotional ceremonies, there is no need for it. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
So what else?
Prabhu,
Yeah,
can
here.
I
Yeah,
ask
sure,
you a
Prabhu.
question here as well?
Sure.
Of course, we know that Gauranga Prabhu did the Shraddha ceremony in Gaya, and we learn from Shastra we absolutely fully understand and absolutely 100% agree with all what you said in terms of, and Prabhupada's instructions in terms of, we don't need to do it. But if the mood is right and to do it still with Krishna at the center, it actually does it not propagate the purpose of those who don't do anything to at least follow something in terms of lead by example? That yes, we don't need to do it. We understand as bhaktas we don't need to do it because we're aiming at a higher purpose. But if we as devotees don't do things, and those that are not even doing karma kanda things, at least to encourage them to do something, it wasn't that the intention of Gauranga Prabhu to effectively do this ceremony to start with? He was, of course, the Lord. He had to do nothing at all, but he still did it himself. Is that not part of the mood we should perhaps also imbibe?
Yes, perhaps if we do it in the right spirit, in the right mood, and if we live in such a social environment where the other people will expect us to do it or will follow what we do, and it might influence them, then perhaps it could be done. I mean, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's times, this was a normal thing, and it was expected from Brahmana. It was a custom. It was expected from each brahmana to do it. So he just followed the already established social customs for his varna. But nowadays, I mean, who is doing it from those people who are not devotees? Maybe some Hindu communities here and there, somewhere, but it's practically forgotten even there. And now we want to give them example. I don't know whether they will take it seriously. If they take it seriously, I think it would be easier just to directly, preach to them Krishna consciousness than to try to teach them some Varnashrama, Karmakanda rituals. If they are open to it, if they already heard about it, and they have some relatives who are doing it, perhaps we could do to educate them, but at least we should be clear with ourselves that this is not really necessary for us, and I'm doing this only to inspire some other people, but it wouldn't be more easy to try to inspire them to chant Hare Krishna,
Yeah,
or
I agree. But what the point was that if done in the right mood, in the right spirit to please Krishna, rather than from a karmakanda attachment perspective, there's still no harm in doing
yeah, then
things that are,
correct.
if done in devotion, then it's converted to bhakti regardless, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. If it's done in proper mood, there is no harm. Just this friend that I mentioned that did that Shraddha and Gaya, somehow, his parents, they were devotees, they were initiated devotees. And still, this astrologer, he managed, somehow to to convince him that they need Shraddha. There were devotees who were chanting, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, good part of their lives, and now they need Shraddha. I don't think so. But somehow the astrologer was so convincing because he wanted he wanted payment. To be honest, he wanted you know these yagyas to be paid. So, and then my friend thought, oh, maybe I have to do something for my parents. I don't know what to do them. So he did out of attachment for his parents, which is not bad, but just he should have, had faith that I'm a devotee, and my parents were also devotees. There is no need for them to do anything. They already might be in much higher place. Uh, Maybe they should do something for me, not that I should be doing something for them. Anyway, this is just some thoughts. Yeah, here again, Prabhupada, in previous Prabhupada, I forgot demoniac government and demoniac situation is mentioned in the Prabhupada. See here. However, when people in general come under the control of a demon or demoniac ruling power, they forget this process of tapasya. So Prabhupada is kind of alluding at the modern day situation. Of society being controlled by not one demon, but demoniac governments, many demoniac governments around the world. How else you could characterize, animal cow killing governments who do so many horrible things, wage wars and horrible things that they are doing. So they're certainly demoniac governments. Not one particular person, but many of them. Whole administration is set up in demoniac way. So then the entire world becomes hell itself, Prabhupada says. And we are witnessing how gradually the world is becoming a hell itself, if you see what is happening. And then so-called natural catastrophes also happening as the result of that. Just in Spain, there were some floods recently, quite unnatural and unusual. And then in Saudi Arabia, it's raining the ice cubes falling from the sky and the frost and the snow, which never happens in the desert. So what is happening here? It's some demoniac business is going on. Whether it's geoengineering of the weather or whatever it is, they are doing something, or they are responsible for these things happening. In Spain, they said that previous year they destroyed, 500 dams that were there on the rivers. They removed them in order to align with the climate change agenda. They removed 500 dams, and now there are floods all of a sudden. This is, something very suspicious, and we cannot trust the money governments. Anyway, okay, so Dhanashri Mataji, Hare Krishna, you are here? Can you hear us? Dhanashri?
Yes, I am here. Oh, I have a
We
problem.
started at 5. You didn't know, Mataji? And you're muted. You can unmute.
Okay. I made a mistake. I don't know what to do.
Oh, which mistake? Oh, you missed. Okay, doesn't matter. But just, is it okay for you?
I am not on the page. I don't know how, but I am.
You're not. Oh, you're not in that group.
No, I am in the group, but I just touched a page and I lost the main screen. I lost the main screen. So your video had stopped. It's written my video is stopped. So what should I do? I don't know.
Oh, your video is stopped. You don't see this version on the screen. You don't see it. Yeah, maybe the best thing would be now just to leave the meeting and join again. If you have some problems, see, you're also muted. Just try leaving Just try leaving and joining again. Then it should work. Okay, anyway, I'll read until she gets. She Sida Ucho, Gatim, or was it Gunaraj Prabhu? Gunaraj Prabhu could read maybe.
Yes, Guru. Shri Siddha Uchu Yono Gatim Yoga Siddham Asadu Aharshid Yoga Tapo Balena Nana Darpam Tam Nakai Vidaddara Tasmai Tubhyam Pranata Smo Narsimha. Translation. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka pray, O Lord Narsimha, because we belong to Siddhaloka, we automatically achieve perfection in all 8 kinds of mystic power. Yet Hiranyakasipu was so dishonest that by the strength of his power and austerity, he took away our powers. Thus, he became very proud of his mystic strength. Now, because this rogue has been killed by our nails, we offer our respectful obeisances. Purport. On earth, there are many yogis who can exhibit some feeble mystic power by manufacturing pieces of gold like magic. But the inhabitants of the planet Siddhaloka are actually extremely powerful in mysticism. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes. This is called Lahima Siddhi. They can actually become very light and fly in the sky. By a severe type of austerity, however, Hiranyakashipu excelled all the inhabitants of the Siddhaloka and created disturbances for them. The residents of Siddhaloka were also beaten by the powers of Hiranyakashipu. Now that Hiranyakashipu had been killed by the Lord, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka also felt relieved. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, stripped of our yoga powers, we have been starving until now. We have been waiting for this time. Gatim refers to powers like becoming small. You killed the demon who showed pride many times.
So Siddha Loka residents describe here how naturally, just by being born on that planet, they have Ashtasiddhis, different type of mystic perfection like Lagima, Anima, Mahima. But because Hiranyakashipu, his tapasya was so severe that he achieved greater level of siddhis, and in this way, he defeated them. They couldn't compete with the Hiranyakashipu's mastery of the yogic siddhis. So they were completely under his control, and thus they were disturbed. So these siddhis could be attained even on this earth by those who perform mystic yoga process, which is very difficult in this age. But if somebody would perform it very, very seriously, he can achieve. But they are considered to be an obstacle for the progressive yogi because one becomes attached to it. He can produce a little gold or something, and then he becomes attracted to sense gratification, and he falls down from his yogi position. So the yoga siddhis, they're considered just a temporary phase and obstacle also. The yogi is supposed actually to ignore them in order to progress further. So perfect bhakti yogis, they also have on their disposal all the yogic siddhis because they're perfect devotees, but generally they don't use them, they don't want to use them. Prabhupada, for example, he could have all these CDs if he wanted, but the mood of a devotee, no, I don't want to use these CDs because then I will think I'm a powerful, I'm the doer, I can do so many wonderful things. No, devotee, he just wants to depend on the Lord and wait for his help and his arrangement for things to happen, not to try to control material nature on his own. This is not the mood of a devotee. That's why generally devotees are not using it. Okay. Rarely, sometimes, you see sort of special healing or this or that devotee exhibits. In history, there were some. Who was it? Rasikananda or somebody who exhibited some miracles. But generally, we don't want see this. Jesus Christ, for example, is also devotee. He exhibited some miracles because it was necessary for his followers, to trust him and to follow him, to see some miracles. So on the people of lower level of understanding, only miracles will give them faith. Nothing else will give them faith. But those who are a little more advanced, who can understand the philosophy, they'll have faith even without any miracles. So that's why we are not into miracles. We are not into exhibiting yogic siddhis. Okay, so Dhanasri Maharaj, are you back now? Can you hear and see?
I can hear, I can see.
Okay, please, can you read?
Shri Vijadara Uchu Vidyam Pitagdanarayanu Dam Nyasidan Anju Bala Vigya Driptaha Sayina Sarikye Pashuvadatasta Tam Mayan Nishimam Pranata Sma Nityam. The inhabitants of Vidyadharloka prayed. Our acquired power to appear and disappear in various ways according to varieties of meditation was banned by that foolish Hiranyakashipu because of his pride in his superior bodily strength and his ability to conquer others. Now the Supreme Personality of Godhead has killed him just as if the demon were an animal. And to that supreme pastime form of Lord Nrimadev, we eternally offer our respectful obeisances. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, till now we have been without knowledge. The knowledge consists of power of being invisible and such things. Radham means accomplished by. Sakya means in battle. Maya Nishimam means merciful Nishimha.
Maybe you can read one more because there is no purport.
Yes. Text 7.8.47. Srinaga Uchu Inapapena Ratnani Stri Ratnani Rityati Naha Tadvaksha Pajena Nasam Datananda Namostute. Translation: the inhabitant of Nagaluka said, the most sinful Hiranyakashipu took away all the jewels on your hoods and all our beautiful wives. Now, since his chest has been pierced by your nails, you are the source of all pleasure to our wives. Thus, we together offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport: no one is peaceful in his wealth and wife. No one is peaceful if his wealth and wife are forcibly taken away. All the inhabitants of Nagaluka which is situated below the earthly planetary system, were in great anxiety because their wealth had been stolen and their wives kidnapped by Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu having been killed, their wealth and wives were returned, and their wives felt satisfied. The inhabitants of various lokas or planets offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord because they were relieved by the death of Hiranyakashipu. Disturbances similar to those created by Hiranyakashipu are now taken place all over the world because of demoniac governments. As stated in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the men of the government of Kali Yuga will be no better than rogues and plunderers. Thus, the populace will be harassed on one side by scarcity of food, and on another by heavy taxation by the government. In other words, the people in most parts of the world in this age are harassed by the ruling principles of Hiranyakashipu. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we have been suffering till now because our wealth and women have been stolen. By piercing the chest of the demon, you give pleasure to our wives, Assam, O giver of bliss, Datananda.
So these were the Nagaloka residents, means Nagas. This Bilvasvarga residents of the subterranean heaven, which is below the Bhumandala. So how Nagalokas look like? Well, in the form of snakes, or half snake, half humans. Nagaloka is mostly filled with the water, but there are beautiful, palaces there, and everything is arranged for enjoyment, as much as it is in the Swarga of Indra. But even they, although they are belonging to kind of a Suric species, even they were disturbed by this Hiranyakashipu, and they were grateful to Lord Nisimhadev for killing him. He was so greedy and lusty that he took so many, wives of different residents of different planets. It's amazing. Yeah, Nagaloka. Okay, I'll read a little more. Somebody wanted to say something? Nagas, Daityas, Danavas, these all different civilizations below Bhumandala, but still advanced civilizations. Sometimes we speak about the aliens here on Earth and UFO, unidentified flying objects, and there are many cases, even some governments like American government and the space agency, they are investigating that, and their pilots, they made some photos of this unidentified flying objects. So we don't know exactly what it is, but it could be that some of these residents of planets below the Earth, below Bhumandala, are visiting the Earth, Daityas, Danavas, Nagas, in the different sort of flying objects that they managed to make with the help of Mayadhanava, who is the engineer of the demons, and who can construct many wonderful things. So flying saucers might be one of those things. Otherwise, demigods, they use vimanas made of flowers. but they have no reason to visit the earth nowadays because no sacrifices are performed for them as in the previous ages. Okay, Shri Manava Uchu. Mano Vayam Tavani Deshe Karino. Dithi Jena Deva Paributta Se Tava. Vavatha Khalasa Upasam Pita Prabhu Prabhamati Kim Anushadi Kinkaran. All the Manus offer their prayers as follows. As your order carriers, O Lord, we the Manus are the lawgivers for human society. But because of the temporary supremacy of this great demon Hiranyakashipu, our laws for maintaining Varnashrama Dharma were destroyed. O Lord, now that you have killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. Kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. Purport. In many places in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna refers to the Varnashrama Dharma of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. He teaches people about this Varnashrama Dharma so that all of human society can live peacefully by observing the principles for the 4 social divisions and 4 spiritual divisions, Varna and Ashrama, and thus make advancement in spiritual knowledge. The Manus compiled the Manu Samhita. The word Samhita means Vedic knowledge, and Manu indicates that this knowledge is given by Manu. The Manus is sometimes incarnation of the Supreme Lord and sometimes empowered living entities. Formerly, many long years ago, Lord Krishna is starting the Sun God. The Manus are generally sons of the Sun God. Therefore, while speaking to Arjuna about the importance of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha. This instruction was given to Vivasvan, the sun god, who in turn instructed his son Manu. Manu gave the law known as Manu Samhita, which is full of directions based on Varna and Ashrama, concerning how to live as a human being. These are very scientific ways of life, but under the rule of demons like Hiranyakashipu, human society breaks all these systems of law and order and gradually becomes lower and lower. Thus, there is no peace in the world. Conclusion is that if we want real peace and order in the human society, we must follow the principles laid down by the Manu Samhita and confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, suddenly receiving the glance of Nrsimha, the Manus with hands folded on their heads say that they are ready to carry out his commands. The Manus refers to those who had already appeared. Seta means the rules of Varnashrama. So generally there is just one Manu at a time, but I guess those who previously appeared in previous ages, somehow they join in the present Manu. I think present Manu is Vaivasvata Manu. And there are different names of 14 Manus that are present in one day of Brahma. The point here is that Manu is giving the law code for the human society called Manu Samhita. So today we have also some scripture, Manu Samhita. How much original Astra coming down from Manu it is quite questionable. There are many scholars who research on it and claim that the present Manu Samhita we have is very much interpolated by those in the previous, hundreds of years or whatever, by those who know the Manu. So some original writing is there, but it's interspersed and interpolated with different things, different texts, and different instructions that might not be coming down from Manu. So it's not very reliable using this text. But the general principle and the mood, this is what we can take. But some individual instructions, like somebody steals this or that, and then his hand should be cut, or this, or somebody divorces, and this punishment and that punishment, and different things that are really not something that can be applied in the modern day world. Even if it's original from Manu and not interpolation. So we have to be very careful quoting Manu Sanghita. Some devotees, they are very much, Manu Sanghita promoters, but what they're promoting might not even be coming from Manu, but from different persons who interpolated whatever they wanted to write there. So we need the original Manu Samhita, and then we need the proper, social environment of Varnashrama Dharma in order to apply this Manu Samhita. There is a need to be, Raja Rishi, the saintly king, who will implement this Manu Samhita. Otherwise, it's just impossible. So that's why we don't focus so much on Manu Samhita. Although Prabhupada mentions it in many places. As the example of the law code for society, he didn't really instruct us to strictly follow the codes of Manu Samhita. Like, one rule would be there's no divorce. Traditionally, there's no divorce. But now we see it's a common thing. So what we're supposed to do to kill all these people who are divorcing, ladies who are without husband, not to allow them to marry again, although they're young. So these things might not be practical, and they have to be considered in a proper light in terms of time, place, and circumstances. And once we are in some other age or in some other social system that is not the modern demoniac government system, then Manu Samhita could be applied if we manage to locate the original Manu Samhita and take out all interpolations written there. Okay, so this was some glorification of the Lord by the Manus. I don't know. Okay, I'll just read one more and then we can stop. We don't need to go full 2 hours. 1.5 hours is more than enough. So Shri Prajapataya Ucho, there is a Prajapatis, Prajesha Vayam Te Parashe Bi Srishtha Na Yena Prajavai Srijamo Nisidha Sa Esh Tvaya Bina Vakshanushete Jagar Mangalam Satvamurte Vatara. So the Prajapatis offered their prayers as follows. O Supreme Lord, Lord of even Brahma and Shiva, we, the Prajapatis, were created by you to execute your orders, but we were forbidden by Hiranyakashipu to create any more good progeny. Now the demon is lying dead before us, his chest pierced by you. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto you, whose incarnation in this form of pure goodness is meant for the welfare of the entire universe. See, their duty was to create progeny, to procreate, but they were forbidden by Hiranyakashipu to do this. He wanted to be the only procreator in the whole universe, so he forbade Prajapatis to increase the population. So Vishnu Shakti Thakur says, O Supreme Lord, the demon gave us the order not to create progeny. O form of sattva, your appearance is auspicious for the world. And one more, Shigandharva Uchu Vayam Vibodhi Nata Natya Gayaka Yenatma Sad Virya Bala Uj Sakritha Saesha Nito Bhavatha Dasham Imam Kim Utpatastha Kushalaya Kalpate. The Hemadas of Gandharva Loga prayed, Your Lordship, we ever engage in your service by dancing and singing in dramatic performances. But this Hiranyakashipu, by the influence of his bodily strength and valor, brought us under his subjugation. Now he has been brought to this low condition by your Lordship. What benefit can result from the activity of such an upstart as Hiranyakashipu? Purport, by being very obedient servant of the Supreme Lord, one becomes extremely powerful in bodily strength, influence, and effulgence, whereas the fate of demoniac upstarts is ultimately to fall down like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu and persons like him may be very powerful for some time, but the obedient servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the demigods, remain powerful always. They're victorious over the influence of Hiranyakashipu by the grace of the Supreme Lord. And Vishwanath, we were subjugated by him. We had to perform dances and sing for him. So instead of singing and dancing for Indra and for Lord Vamanadev and higher planetary systems, they had to dance and sing for Hiranyakashipu, which was not very pleasing to them. Okay, I think we can stop here. So I wanted to ask at the end, is this 5 o'clock time okay for all of you? Dhanashri Mataji?
It's fine for me. Remember, I told you at the beginning, but
Yeah.
there
Okay,
is
but
still come out.
But today you didn't see that we are starting at 5, so you came
No,
at 6.
I did not. I am very sorry. So I have so many
No problem.
responsibilities. So I don't.
Okay, I think 5 is kind of better because
Yes.
we finished earlier.
Okay.
And now it's also deep down, so
Deep down, yeah, we can now manage to do deep down. Okay,
yeah.
thank you all very much. Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, are you here? Didn't see
Yeah.
you.
I don't know the time change.
I wrote there in the group. You didn't read. I mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't notice.
Oh, you didn't notice. Anyway, next time, is it
Yeah.
okay for you? Next time, 5 o'clock?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Prabhu, I have one question. Just
Please.
now we talked about the Vanasrama, and yeah, I want to know which scriptures mention this Vanasrama except Bhagavad Gita. I mean the details of this Vanasrama.
I think in the Bhagavatam also we have some chapters spoken by Narada Muni. Is it in the 7th canto? Where is it? Maybe after this, actually, after this Hiranyakashipu and Nrsimhadev story, we have Narada's instructions on Varnashrama Dharma. That's one. But then you have many, Dharma Shastras that give specific instructions for different varnas and ashramas. Supplementary, Dharma Shastras. Manu Sanhita is one scripture that we mentioned, that Prabhupada is mentioning, where different, codes and rules for Varnashrama Dharma followers are mentioned. But for us, I think Bhagavatam is enough. And so you will find I think in this very canto, we will come to that explanation of Varnashrama Dharma. Some chapters where Narada Muni is teaching Maharaj Yudhishthira. So the instructions for, different, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, for Brahmacharis, Snyasis, what they should do, how they should do. So these instructions are there, but how much we can follow today when there is no actually varnashrama, that's a different story. You know, we can try to follow whatever is possible and practical in our circumstances, but many things might not be possible and applicable at the present age. You know, other varnashrama would need to be established. You know, and that nowadays nobody knows who is who. We are living in a larger society which is not arranged according to rules of varnashrama. So how can we follow isolated ourselves? It needs to be established. In ISKCON there is a lot of story. Oh, we need varnashrama, but ISKCON is also not separated from the outer world. We are so much dependent on the outside world for everything. You know, even this internet we are using, this is the product of the outside world. So unless we make ourselves completely independent from modern civilization and self-sufficient, and then we establish our social system, we cannot function. But we have some parts of an ashrama, like ashramas established. Sannyas ashram is there, brahmacharya ashram is there, grihastas are there, and there are some rules that all these ashramas. We know what sannyasi is supposed to do, what is not supposed to do, and what are the consequences if he breaks the rule or brahmachari breaks the rule. The least we have for vanaprasthas, the not many people are maybe inspired to take vanaprastha ashram, but there are also rules for vanaprasthas. What is vanaprastha supposed to do? So we'll read about this in I think in this canto already. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So okay. Is it for you also 5? You said it's okay. Okay, then see you next Wednesday, all at
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Vancha
thank you.
Vancha kalpatarvasya kripasinubhaya patitanam pavanenu vaishnavaya.
Vavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo.